The true kidneys include the human body and the entire hormone system. So when we are really sleeping, the heart is fire and the kidney is water. The harmony is water, and fire means the heart and kidney are connected. The soul is still in the body, so we will not dream. When the water and fire are not in harmony, the soul leaves the body. So in our Chinese mythological works, when people dream, they always see a person flying out of the top of their head and going out to play. Taoists believe that this is called the out of body spirit, which is actually the soul leaving the body. According to Western medical pathology, this is very serious. The milder one is sleepwalking, and the more serious one is soul separation. Soul separation is very rare. According to current medical concepts, this type is related to schizophrenia. The soul is invisible. Our thoughts become souls when we fall asleep and also become souls after death. They have functions but no form or appearance, so they cannot be seen without a body. The soul has functions and images. When people are young, their young energy is strong. When they are old, their essence and soul are scattered, and their eyes become white, but a spirit and soul have not dispersed yet, according to the hexagram of the Book of Changes. This is the hexagram of wandering soul, in a wandering state. Although the body is still alive, the soul is floating between the void and the body, which means that the soul is about to report to the land. Many elderly people open their mouths and eyes at the same time when watching TV or watching things like puds, with their mouths open like flowers. When you see flowers about to wither, they open very wide. It seems like a joke to say this, but through this joke, you will understand yourself and know how to take care of your body. The soul is like a person's shadow. This shadow is not the shadow under our light, but an image in our mind, which is equivalent to the shadow in our body. The essence of life, the spirit and spirit can be cultivated back. The greatness of Taoist Kung Fu lies in this point, which is not found in other schools and is a special part of Chinese culture. When your spirit and soul come together and change, as long as you concentrate your spirit, you don't have to worry about your thoughts and ideas. Delusion will naturally disappear, and true thoughts will naturally come. Taoism follows this path, while Buddhism has been focusing on that thought. After a long time, the thought becomes more and more difficult to settle. Because the key cannot be caught, Taoism focuses on the spirit. The spirit is tied. It is equivalent to catching the soul of a person. The soul must come back. The soul enters the body. The soul and the spirit combine, and the person settles. This is a secret that Taoism has kept for many years. I will tell you today. Fellow practitioners, if you think my sharing is valuable, please like and follow. Please like and follow. The sweeping monk will be very happy. I will continue to update for you. Thank you. Thank you. Buddhism, Taoism, exoteric Buddhism, and esoteric Buddhism all have their own strengths, and the wonderful application depends on one mind. Where does life come from and where does death go? According to the materialistic explanation, death is like the extinguishing of a lamp. Is this answer acceptable? It is not satisfactory. In fact, sociology, psychology, medicine, and spiritualism have all conducted surveys, and there are many examples that prove that death is worse than the extinguishing of a lamp. For example, some people have not died, but the truth of their death has already happened. Let's not talk about the distant past, but let's talk about the recent events. There was an old friend's grandfather. 3 days before his death, the old lady suddenly saw his husband walking out of the door. The old lady called him not to go out, fearing that he would catch a cold. But he suddenly disappeared again. The old lady went back to the room and saw that the old man was still lying on the bed and sleeping soundly. At this time, the old lady knew in her heart that her husband was about to die. This is the so-called soul leaving the body first. Sure enough, 3 days later, the old man passed away. There are many such examples, and these many examples are still unknown in science. Many of our elderly people can't sleep at night now. The principle of health preservation in traditional Chinese medicine. The elderly can't sleep because water and fire don't complement each other. Why don't water and fire complement each other? Because the heart and kidney don't communicate. The fire of the heart, the fire of thoughts and emotions can't sink down, and the water of the kidney can't be vaporized and rise. the water in the kidneys is hormones and vitamins. If these substances are insufficient, the kidney water cannot rise, causing the water and fire of the heart and kidney to not blend, and people cannot fall asleep. The way to keep healthy is to cultivate the spleen and stomach first, and concentrate the mind and keep one, and then you will fall asleep naturally. Therefore, elderly people who love to sleep and sleep well are signs of longevity. Fire and water do not complement each other, which means that the heart and kidney cannot blend. In theory, the soul and the spirit are separated. So is the soul, that is, the thought and will. The spirit is physiological, including ki, blood, muscles, hormones, nutrition, vitamins, proteins, etc., which are called spirits. It is actually a nutrient, a gasified thing. Some people's bodies are old, turned into a skeleton shape, that is, the soul and the spirit are separated. When they are young, the soul and the spirit are together. Therefore, the Chinese talk about the principles of life, believing that the soul does not leave the body when you fall asleep, but returns to a place on the body to settle down. When the soul returns to the back of the brain, you dream, and when the soul returns to the front of the brain, you wake up. If the soul is hidden between the heart muscles, it will sleep peacefully. Once the soul leaves the body, it will be a big dream. When people dream, it will leave from the top of their heads. When you really fall asleep, the spirit and ki will intersect, because they have intersect for a night, and you have slept enough, so you will be full of energy the next day. When you wake up, you will be like a flower with full spirit and ki. If you don't sleep well, the spirit and ki will not intersect enough. That won't work. The soul is the soul, and the thoughts in our brains are called the soul. Is the soul materialistic? No, but it is not idealistic either. It is the combination of materialism and idealism. The soul is the soul, and our thoughts are the soul. So if you read ancient books or ancient woodcuts, a line will come out of the top of a person when he dies, and the soul has come out. Dreaming is called wandering. In short, out-of-body experience means that an individual feels that his existence is separated from the body and can move freely outside the body. This phenomenon is usually associated with near-death experience, especially when people are on the verge of death. The dying person may feel their soul floating out of the body in a coma, and even see their body in the rescue actions of medical staff. Amazingly, even when they are thought to have lost consciousness or even stopped brain activity, they can still accurately describe the experience after regaining consciousness. But at that time, the dying person was actually determined to have lost consciousness and even stopped brain activity, but they can accurately tell what happened during this coma. In addition, some people also experience out-of-body experience when practicing spiritual practices such as meditation, qigong, and yoga. They claim to be able to visit distant places in an out-of-body state and witness events there. This phenomenon sometimes occurs naturally. According to statistics, about a quarter of the world's people have experienced out-of-body experience during sleep. Most out-of-body phenomena occur during sleep, usually accompanied by the feeling of ghost pressure on the bed. This is because the body enters the sleep state faster than the mind, causing the consciousness to leave after the body is completely asleep. The soul leaves the body during sleep because the body is tired than the mind, so the body falls asleep faster than the mind, and this is when ghost pressure on the bed occurs. Even if the mind is awake and the body is asleep, when the body is completely asleep, that person's consciousness may leave the body and move. And like ordinary dreams, the person who has an out-of-body experience remains awake during this process, can think clearly and control actions freely, and receive information from the outside world just like when awake. Freely control any of your actions, and it will be more convenient to act when awake, because after the soul leaves the body, there is no physical restriction. Even do things that are impossible at ordinary times. For example, you can fly or pass through walls after leaving the body. In Europe and the United States, there are institutions that specialize in the study of out-of-body experiences and make scientific research on out-of-body experiences and regard it as a special sphere of consciousness. They believe that basically everyone has the ability to experience out-of-body experiences. out-of-body experiences usually occur during sleep. So what is the difference between out-of-body experiences and dreams? In fact, some ancient people believed that when people dream, their souls will leave the body and move somewhere else. This is also the reason why people should not scribble on other people's faces when they sleep, because they are worried that the person's soul will not be able to recognize themselves after returning, and cannot return to their own bodies. In fact, this idea is redundant. Sometimes, when people wake up suddenly after falling asleep, some people's bodies will be excited for a moment. It may feel like they are falling from a high altitude, and their bodies will feel a strong centrifugal force at that time. Accompanied by the strong centrifugal force, the person suddenly wakes up. It is said that this is because of the discomfort caused by the soul suddenly returning to the body. Okay, let's talk about this today. In the next episode, we will continue to talk about the specific methods of soul leaving the body.